Good up.
This is Channel 253.
On this episode of the Grit and Grain Podcast.
It looks like a jellyfish, kind of. Feels like an earlobe.
God damn it, Bethany. What is wrong with you?
Smells like a foot.
Did you know Channel 253 is member supported? I'm producer Doug Mackey, and I hope you will show your support by going to channel253.com/membership and join. Thank you.
Welcome to the Grit and Grain Podcast, where we explore and celebrate the craft beer industry, community, and history in Tacoma, Washington, and surrounding Pacific Northwest areas. Thank you so much for hanging out. Let's get to it.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to the Grit and Grain Podcast, coming to you guys from Peaks and Pints in Tacoma, Washington.
Yeah!
So, everybody's so excited.
You
should be.
Damn
it's a good day. My name is Matt McLaren. I'm here, of course, with Ron Swarner.
Hello.
How's it going, Ron?
Great. I'm great and ready to chop salt, pack, and wait.
Okay.
Perfect. We'll explain what all those things mean in a minute. And Bethany, of course, how's it going?
I'm great. How are you guys?
Good.
Good.
And then Doug's on mic, too.
Hey there, hello.
Chewing on bread.
Yeah,
Doug's
the
mouth is full.
bread's not going to make it until the point where you actually talk about it.
That's fine. Oh, Phaedra's on mic, too. What's up,
Hello.
Phaedra?
Surprise.
Yeah, I didn't even realize, but I'm glad.
Well, thanks.
Well, yeah, because you brought some shit we're going to talk about, too.
I did, yeah.
Today's kind of a funky episode. Haha. Obviously, if you listened last week, we talked to Tristan and Michael from Browns Point Homebrew Club about getting started homebrewing. Bethany and I just started nerding out about a sort of a kind of version of brewing or a method of brewing or a component of brewing that we just like and apply to different parts of our lives, including food and other beverages beyond beer. So we just wanted to talk about fermentation. Obviously, it's a huge chunk of what makes beer taste the way it does. So we're going to get into sciencey, nerdy stuff. But Bethany also makes a bunch of her own fermented shit at home, as do I. So we wanted to talk about it just because it's fun. And honestly, fermented foods go really well with beer. So we're going to talk about that too. And then Phaedra brought a wild beer that we referenced in a previous episode, and I cannot fucking wait to try this thing.
I'm excited.
So when we pour that, we'll talk about it.
Yeah.
I think we got nerdy after the lambic episode, really.
Oh, that is true.
Yeah, we were like, should we just do a podcast on fermentation?
That is true. Yeah, it did actually
It's
start that
alive. Everything's alive.
So we have 5 listeners today.
way. Yeah. I know. Why the fuck?
It's literally life, right?
It is literally life. Mm-hmm. And actually, when we were nerding out, Bethany recommended a fantastic author and kind of one of the most prominent contemporary commenters on fermentation in food and in beer. He's also a brewer, but Sandor Katz. Bethany, I think you have a book sitting next to you by him.
I do. I brought one.
But yeah, fermentation is life is like basically his.
Matt, are we intending to spread anything on this bread later?
No, I don't think so.
No? Okay, just keep going.
Well, I'm sauerkraut and kimchi.
You can eat those by themselves.
But you can totally
don't
just eat them by
need the
themselves.
bread.
Yeah, there's a loaf of sourdough in front of
The
everybody.
crust could be a little glassier, I think.
Can you hear the crust in the mics?
Oh, yeah, probably. Oh, yeah.
I mean, it sounds pretty good.
That's pretty good.
We do have some sourdough in front of us. It's not mine. I do make sourdough at home, but I couldn't get my starter going because it's been super fucking cold. But I was bragging that my crust would be a little bit thinner than the one we have in front of us. That's all. That's all Doug's saying.
Did you get into the sourdough during COVID when everyone was baking their own bread?
No, mine was
You
pre-COVID.
did that before,
Yeah, so I was into it before it was cool.
Me too. I mean, fermenting things.
I know.
Way before the lockdown, I was making
This
my
is
own
the
weird
dumbest
stuff.
thing to say that about because people have been doing it for like 10,000 years.
Yeah, all right, yeah.
Whatever.
Really a long time.
Bethany, did you get into rollerblading before or after COVID?
Way before. Way before. I was like 6.
Hopefully you all hear Bethany's Off the Record podcast. So yeah, we're going to like I said, talk about fermenty foods, talk about fermented, like how beer ferments, what actually goes on when you ferment things, why you should like try doing some of this stuff at home. And if you're home brewing, obviously, hopefully some of this stuff might actually end up being useful to you. But do you want to explain super quick, like what fermentation is in beer and then like what it is in food?
Sure.
Okay.
Well, yes. In general,
Generally?
generally.
Yeah.
Well, to ferment beer, obviously we're going to add, so back in the day before, when people were just found out about how to make beer, it's just there's yeast and bacteria in the air, and it's going to mix with grain that just got sat out or something, and it'll ferment and produce alcohol and many other compounds, but alcohol and CO2 being the main ones. And so now we ferment beer with specific strains of yeast to create certain flavors, unless, of course, you're doing wild ales. And then the difference with, so many foods are fermented that you don't even think about. So everything from chocolate, cacao beans, to miso, to all
Real
the
sauerkraut.
real sauerkraut, tempeh, tofu. What else we got here?
It's so
Bread,
much.
obviously.
Yogurt.
Coffee, yogurt. Well, yes, yogurt. What else? Kombucha, cider, mead. So many things are fermented, and
Which coffee beans are fermented. Yeah.
they can be sometimes.
They can be, yeah. Some people might be familiar with Kopi Luwak, which is a very infamous coffee, but it's made with coffee beans that were harvested from the turds of an animal that eats coffee cherries. And the reason that the coffee is so much better is because it actually ferments in the gut of the animal.
Lovely.
Lovely. But yeah, you can buy a bag of it for like, I don't know, $500 or something, and people just go nuts for it. But yeah, it went kind of viral when everybody kind of learned how it was made and how expensive it was. But yeah, that is fermented, and that's why it's so good. Which is actually the case for a lot of food. Like if you want whatever food you're eating, especially if it's like, a natural thing, a natural ingredient, fruit, vegetables, fermenting foods will just make them better, just like fermenting beer makes it better.
Sometimes, a lot of times, more digestible, or it'll take compounds in a food and make it so it's it either tastes better or it's more digestible. Like with soybeans, for example, if you eat like raw soybeans, they can be kind of toxic for your system. So that's why you see the tofu and the fermented soy.
Totally.
So it can break down the actual fermentation process, breaks down those toxic compounds and makes them better for your system. Yes, there you go.
So obviously in beer, can we actually, while we're talking, can we try one of your kombuchas?
Yeah.
Thank you. So like Bethany said, fermentation in beer obviously is the most important process. It's how beer goes from being like sugary, grainy water to an actual alcoholic, carbonated, flavorful, delicious thing. And she said that there's multiple different kinds of yeast that you use, or yeast strains that you would use, but like the main ones obviously are ale and lager yeasts. And there's different versions of each one of those and different strains of each of those. There's big companies that produce different strains of yeast that you can use to achieve certain flavors. And yeast, because it's a living thing, different strains actually mean that their actual genes are different. So when you have yeast that has like a gene, this kind of gene versus being absent of this kind of gene, it might create more phenols or more esters than this one. And so that's how you get like certain characteristic differences, even if you're using an ale yeast for two different beers. So a really good example, obviously, is like German Hef yeast strains, which are, if you've had a good German Hef, you might recognize like the clove and banana type flavors. Those are esters and phenols created by the yeast that they use. And actually, German yeast is an example of German Hef yeast is an example of yeast that is POF positive, which is kind of an old school way of just saying that it creates phenols, but it's phenolic off flavor positive. So when you ferment with it, if you do certain things during your fermentation, you can get these like spiced kind of clove flavors. 4-VC, 4-vinyl guaiacol is what that is the compound that is responsible for clove aroma and flavor in your beer. But with lager yeast, it's a little bit different, but it kind of works the same. Lager yeast and ale yeast, the big difference, we've kind of talked about it before, is that lager yeast ferments a bit colder and ale yeast ferments warmer. At warmer temperatures, your beer is going to have a lot more esters and phenols, so much more like yeast-derived flavors and aromas. At cooler temperatures, you generally don't have that, so lager beers are usually much more grain forward in terms of flavor and aroma, grain or hop forward, and less yeast-derived aroma compounds and flavor compounds. That's like the main difference. But there's a ton of different ways to like experiment and to try different things. Actually, if you guys listen, there's another great beer podcast called Brewlosophy. It's a popular publication, but they do a great podcast too, and they do really cool experiments about like how perceptible the fermentation temperature differences are using the same yeast strain, and it's really interesting. So like their methodology is cool. They travel all over. Brewlosophy is a popular publication, but they'll usually have like panels of 20 to 30 people try 3 different beers and have to pick out the different one between the 3, and it's basically 2 control beers and then 1 beer that was fermented either really hot or way colder. And it's interesting because everything else about the beer is the same, but fermentation temperature ends up being such a huge factor in the types of flavors and the amount of flavors that are in your beer. And they have an episode on ale yeast and then an episode on lager yeast, and it's actually funny because the perceived differences is on like a slanted scale. So like as you go up in temperature from like lager fermentation temps, which could be as low as like 48 degrees to like 52 degrees, all the way up to like 60. As you get past that, fermenting warmer and warmer, the perceived flavors and aromas are like increased by a ton. So it's way easier to tell if your beer was fermented at a warmer temperature compared to like, from 72 to 80, it's totally noticeable. From 48 to 60, it's barely noticeable. So I don't know, temperature and like fermentation make a huge difference. And that's actually what I was complaining about when I was talking about not being able to make my sourdough because the yeast did not get active enough in these fucking winter temperatures.
Yeah, same with the kombucha we're drinking. So it's got strawberries and ginger in it, and I was hoping it would get a lot more carbonated, but it's only been bottled for about a week. So it's young
crazy delicious.
still.
This is so good.
But yeah,
I don't even like kombucha. This is delicious.
Oh, thanks. Yeah.
Same here.
Picture it much
Not
more
my favorite, but
carbonated
this is really
and
good.
fizzy
You
and
still kind of
bubbly.
get it. It's still there for
But
sure.
it has a very different nose than a flavor. It has a real sort of a vinegary sort of. I'm being the dumb guy talking on the
No,
mic.
you got it.
Okay, but then it's very sweet and
Yeah.
Yep.
I mean, it smells like a foot,
much less sour. Yeah,
but
As
it tastes
kombucha
lovely.
does often. Yeah.
it's delicious.
And there's floaters.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like
Those are fruits.
experimenting with the flavors of kombucha. We did one with mango and hot pepper. I did not bring for everybody, but
That would have been awesome. That
you're
would've been
welcome,
awesome.
Ron. And then the strawberry hot pepper one sitting at home too. I'll let you guys know how that works out.
Yeah. I have a few friends that make their own kombucha and to varying degrees of success.
Yeah.
This is
You actually
lovely.
make your own peppers too.
Greer grows his own peppers and then ferments them. We do a lacto ferment with them, and then he blends them in the garage because it's horrible on your lungs
So
and
gassy
respiratory
and, like,
system.
yep.
These peppers are hot, and then he bottles them into hot sauce, which he brought some of. Whoever wants to try some.
I do. Oh my god.
Yeah, he brought a bunch.
What is lacto ferment?
It's hard to explain. So you add, first, like sauerkraut, you're going to mash up the cabbage and you add a little bit of salt to it to kind of inhibit any bad bacteria that you don't want in there growing. So it promotes good bacteria growing. And one of the main byproducts of that is lactobacillus. So it causes that sourness in sauerkraut and a lot of other things that are fermented naturally with the salts. Or I guess you don't have to use salt, I was reading, but you don't maybe get as good of a product it's a little bit more of a crapshoot even.
That's true.
than
Salt is mostly a measure of control in like fermented foods.
Yeah.
But lactobacillus is also one of the main responsible parties for sourness in sour beer. We have a couple of beers, I think, that might have some lactobacillus, maybe just the cool shit. But lactobacillus and pediococcus are kind of the main bacterial contributors to sourness in like good sour beer. My favorite kind of sour beer is usually sour beer that has kind of a balance of both. Lacto, as you can imagine, is more like a yogurty type of sourness, where pediococcus is more like acetic. By acetic, I mean like vinegary. And so I love beers that really balance both. But you can get some fantastic beers that are just very vinegary, but still very balanced in their sweetness and their acidity. And then some beers that are really heavy in lactobacillus might kind of have this like Greek yogurt sort of funkiness to them that feels not thick, but it kind of contributes to like this extra mouthfeel that's much more noticeable. And oftentimes the difference that I notice in them if I'm trying a beer that's more lacto versus a beer that's more pedio is the lacto beer is like rounder in its like mouthfeel, and the pedio beer is sharper because it feels more, it just feels like a tighter, more sharp, acidic flavor.
Maybe, Matt, you know the answer to this as I was kind of rereading some of these books and stuff. So the lactobacillus and all these beneficial bacteria that are in something like kombucha, when they're in beer, does the alcohol kill that stuff off, or is it still in those kinds of wild ales? And at what point? Like, if you have a 10% beer, are there still any beneficial, raw, good for you bacteria in it, like you're drinking a quote kombucha with alcohol in it, or
sure. So like, is lambic good for your gut health? Is that what you're
yeah, you can kill two birds with one stone.
Yeah, exactly.
Do you know the answer?
I don't. So I believe the answer is yes, especially because there's aerobic and anaerobic bacteria. And if your bacteria does not require oxygen, I don't see any reason why it wouldn't stay alive in something like a lambic, especially as they continue to develop.
Just in harmony with the alcohol. I guess that makes sense too, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, yeast has a better chance of getting killed off by alcohol than I think pedio or lacto do, with the exception of Brettanomyces, which is just a greedy bitch of yeast. Just eats everything.
Well, good. That's the answer.
Yeah, totally.
Right? We all want to hear that.
Lambic is gut health positive.
Yep.
Which is why lambic is life.
Exactly.
I know we're not drinking a barley wine today. We probably we'll get one at the break.
Yeah.
What were you going to say, Ron?
I was going to say, for science, I accidentally poured my kombucha into my Double Mountain Molten Lava Double IPA. And it's not good.
Kombucha. So you have a kombucha cuvee right now?
We have no dump bucket.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Shit. Awesome.
Yeah.
Better drink faster.
So what's your second kombucha we have sitting here?
Yeah, do we want to go with this one?
Yeah.
It's something we actually brewed a really long time ago, and it's been sitting in a corny keg on a blanket of CO2 in the cold for the last year. So this is like a tropical fruit blend.
So it's been sitting for a year.
Yeah.
Nice.
So we were like, I don't know, let's taste it. But it's very different, much more sour than the first
bubbles.
one.
Mm-hmm. I see bubbles.
Maybe more footy, too.
More footy.
Definitely more footy. And yeah, very dry now compared to the other one. So
Double Mountain-y.
Shout out to Matt.
but yeah, so just different flavor and very aged.
Yum.
Man, like, especially after going through and drinking multiple lambics over the last few episodes that we've done, it's crazy how similar this is to like an apricot lambic or something like that. Like it is
funky foot.
It's funk for sure, but then like you have this kind of like very clean, dry, sharp acidity, and it's actually not as vinegary as I expected.
It's very subtle. That's what most
delicious.
kombuchas that I try like hit you in the face with the vinegar, and that's what I don't love about them. But both of these have been really nice and
Leave it to Bethany to be the
subtle.
best kombucha maker.
Yeah.
Just
Are we
fucking,
surprised? No,
Yeah.
not at all. Not at all. Yeah.
I don't know. This is making me more curious about trying to make my own kombucha. If you if you guys listened to the last one, you probably heard Tristan and Michael talking about their Solera projects. So the sour beers that they have just kind of like cooking in their garage, that they pull some off of and then add some more wort to or some more beer to, so they kind of just keep developing. Which Bethany mentioned, that's how you make your kombucha as well, right? Mm-hmm. Okay. And the idea is that the yeast is just continuing to propagate as you basically add more food to the mixture.
Yeah, you get a new SCOBY every time. So you have your mother SCOBY and then your baby SCOBYs. And after every 6 months or so, we change out the whole vessel. But yeah, it works to just put your fresh tea right on top. You actually need some already done kombucha when you're making kombucha, so that your pH is low enough to promote the right kinds of environment for your SCOBY. So you already have that fermented kombucha on the bottom, and then you just top it off with the fresh tea, and you're ready to roll.
Sweet. That is the exact same method as the sour beers that they're making in the garage. That's awesome. It's also how you feed a sourdough starter.
So can I ask what a SCOBY is? I mean,
bacteria baloney.
I've heard about it and everything, but like, how does it happen? And where does it come from?
Stands for symbiotic culture of bacteria and yeast.
Oh.
And that's what it is.
That's the most apt description.
Well, all right then.
It looks like a jellyfish, kind of. Feels like an earlobe.
God damn it, Bethany. What is wrong with you?
It smells like a foot.
Jesus.
It's very, very...
Yeah, so
okay.
It's what ferments your sweet tea.
Okay.
And then makes kombucha.
Alrighty then.
Yeah.
I'm horrified. I don't want to make kombucha anymore.
Yeah. Yeah, I first had kombucha, I don't know, probably 20 years ago in California. My sister lives in a Northern California town, and she introduced it to me, and I was like, what is this loogie at the bottom? Like commercial kombucha now doesn't have the SCOBYs at the bottom.
No.
I found they have figured out I don't know how they don't have them, because it's natural in kombucha if it's live and raw, but anyways. So I started making it after that, I think. Yeah, not right after that, but it is a weird thing. I think it's definitely acquired. Like a lot of other fermented things are an acquired taste.
Sure. What, we kind of just keep joking about how it's just good for your health. Can you tell us, kind of generally why fermented stuff is good for you?
The process of breaking down the foods in the fermentation process are what create those beneficial bacterias and probiotics, prebiotics, those little microbes that are really good for your gut health.
Which you've all agreed is in lambic. So
yes.
In case you need an extra reason to drink lambic.
All agreed. Yeah. And not all fermented foods have them, right? So like bread, it naturally gets cooked out. So you're not getting those same sorts of things. So there's a difference between stuff that's fermented and retain those sort of health benefits and things that are fermented that don't, like chocolate and stuff like that.
Although bread, chocolate, obviously like antioxidants and stuff with really good chocolate.
Yes.
Bread, especially for people with gluten sensitivity, because you're breaking down proteins with things like fermentation, enzymes and bacteria will break down proteins, including glutamic proteins. And actually, on the Wild Culture podcast that Sandor Katz did, the host was he's like severely celiac and was experimenting with his own sourdough. It was like a really mature sourdough starter, and was doing like small tests where he would try the sourdough and see if he had any of his normal sort of celiac reactions, and he wasn't. And they kind of agreed that the idea was that it was because a lot of the fermentation activity was breaking down some of the glutamic proteins.
That's so cool.
So if you're celiac, you might be able to eat bread again if it's like a healthy fermented bread.
Yeah. Yeah. Just
not a doctor. Don't do it if you. Yeah, not a doctor. But just saying, people have done it.
But yeah, just the food itself becomes more digestible, and there's some potential health benefits on top of it.
Totally. Yeah. It's like pre-digested, and like enzymes are like a huge part of fermentation. They're a part of brewing in general, but like when you're the mechanism for getting sugar into your wort is by breaking starches down that are in barley, and the barley actually also has enzymes in it. So when you're malting barley, you're getting it to sprout just a little bit. Some people might wonder why you call it malt and not just barley, and the difference between malted grain and non-malted grain is that when you malt a grain, you're getting it to sprout right to the peak point of enzyme activity, and all of those enzymes are what break down the complex starches into fermentable sugars. And most grains have some measure of sugars in them, but not all grains have enough enzymes to actually break that stuff down. Barley has both of those things, so it's perfect. But enzyme activity happens in all kinds of fermentation, actually, including in some of the other fermented foods that we have, which I'm kind of like itching to put on some of the sourdough. You brought sauerkraut, and I brought kimchi, which are basically the same thing, but from two different parts of the world.
Should probably start with the sauerkraut.
For sure.
I ate all my bread.
There's more.
You said
There's
it.
a
Whoa,
fork.
there's
Greer, can I
more.
have another bread, please?
Fuck yeah.
Doug is funk drunk right now.
I'm crazy about this stuff. I'm a vinegar freak. I love sour flavors and things. I use vinegar a lot in cooking. Just a little bit here and there just to pop that acid in all kinds of different foods.
That ass.
Doug knows all about that. Don't he? So
And it softens. Doesn't the acid just soften the food as well? It kind of like breaks it down a little
I
bit.
thought you were going to be like your stool.
Softens my mind. Softens my mind.
Oh, man. That earlobe quote is going on a T-shirt at
It's
some
a
point.
tenderizer. It's a tenderizer.
It is a tenderizer. Okay, so I've never been a huge sauerkraut fan, but I also until you because I had never heard. I know.
Phaedra's just like, no.
So it wasn't until Bethany recommended Sandor Katz to me, just as like a fermentation nerd, that I realized that there are like non-live sauerkrauts on the market, and this is actually an example of a live sauerkraut that's actually fermented.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, we have Oli Kraut.
Which is awesome that it's local.
Ex-greeners, I bet.
What?
Ex-greeners, I bet.
Yeah.
Probably greeners making sauerkraut. Come on.
Yeah.
That's delicious, and it's like not even that funky, and it's like super savory. Yeah, I'm not sure why it like slipped my brain to like try and find like an actual live sauerkraut, because I actually love other just fermented vegetables in general. Like jardiniere is like one of my favorite condiments ever, and it's like spicy fermented Italian vegetables. If you go to the Red Hot in Tacoma, you can get an Italian beef sandwich that has jardiniere on it, which is spicy fermented vegetables, and it's incredible. It's one of the best condiments ever, and it's just like whole chunks of like fresh vegetable, and they're crunchy and spicy and funky, and it's so good. But you know,
Yeah, the other brands we usually get are Firefly around here, and Bubbies are all natural.
Where'd you get that, actually? What?
Stadium Thriftway.
Okay.
The co-op always has them. I think even Fred Meyer now has
Really?
like
Okay.
raw. Don't
Really?
quote me on that. Don't quote me on Fred Meyer.
in the fridge section.
Definitely like Tacoma
past the
Boys,
clothing.
I'm sure. Yeah.
Yeah, right.
but shop local instead. Go to Stadium Thriftway.
Yeah.
All right, I'm opening kimchi.
Oh, maybe a break first?
Oh, sure. Yeah,
See that?
we're actually gonna pour a couple of new beers.
Now,
might
now
try
there's
again.
there's a tease. Kimchi.
This I know.
You'll be back for this.
The kimchi face tease.
You will.
Yeah, stick around. We'll be right back. Welcome back, everybody. Thank you for hanging out during the break. As always, a shout out to Doug, who's on mic, but who also is wonderful, and we love him.
Yeah, Doug.
Edie.
And to Channel 253, who we're very excited to be affiliated with. Please go check out Channel 253 because it's awesome, and you're absolutely missing out if you haven't yet. What's that? Yeah, Ron brought out new beer.
Weather of all storms.
Oh, hell yeah.
A little palate cleanser.
Today, that is not even that much of a joke. Cheers to Sean,
Yeah.
Cheers to Sean.
who's still alive. We're not cheersing him because he's dead. He's just not here.
Yeah.
I'll miss it.
Let's see how barley wine goes with kimchi. So yeah, I popped open a
Dangerous.
container of delicious, pretty fresh kimchi.
Electricals.
If you're in Tacoma and you like kimchi, or if you just want to try it, go out to Paldo on South Tacoma Way, and the little family deli up front has just the absolute best kimchi that I know of.
It's really, really good.
Endorsed by my wife's Korean mother, whose mom used to make her own kimchi as well and bury it and ferment it, and which is very traditionally how it's made, because you need cool temperatures. Like I said, temperature is everything in fermentation. All right. I kind of actually do want to see how kimchi goes with barley wine, so I'm going to take a bite and take a sip.
And you've made your own kimchi, Matt?
I have not made my own kimchi. The only food stuff that I fermented at home is I did a hot sauce with some friends' peppers. It was a huge mix, but I fermented the peppers for about 3 weeks. And then once they got like really broken down, I blended it up with carrot, garlic, and a couple other things, and made like a very nice kind of like breakfasty hot sauce. It was delicious.
And we have Greer hot sauce here too.
We do have Greer hot sauce. So
4 little vials
of fermented hot sauce from homegrown peppers.
vials of. Yeah, I've got an ahi lemon, peach habanero, question mark one, and 7-pot douglas.
They have such distinctive flavors, though. I mean, they
do,
They're
right?
really, really different.
When you do, and vertically, the peppers, just like with beer tasting, have their own characteristics,
Totally
and
different.
some are great on different sorts of foods. And then that fermentation gives it that health
kick.
quality to it, you know. So yeah, we put this stuff on everything: eggs, pizza, lasagna, quesadillas, burritos.
So kimchi with
Chips.
You can really figure out what goes best on what you're what too.
Ooh,
Yeah.
the ahi lemon
Compare
is
it.
crazy good. So I had fermented hot sauce with fermented cabbage on fermented bread, and I'm taking a sip of my beer. That's all I wanted to do today.
Darn nice way to end the day.
Yeah, it's perfect.
Stage is the fermentation.
Honestly, the barley wine is pretty good with the spicy stuff.
It's great.
Like the sweetness cools it off perfectly. It's very nice, actually.
I think that's what you have paired with the Orleans sandwich on our menu? That is the tapenade. Yep.
Matt, where do you think your fermentation journey started?
For sure with beer. And then actually some friends got me a book on fermentation. I want to say for a birthday a few years ago, with a bag of their peppers, and then a very nice fermentation mason jar with an airlock. And so making fermented hot sauce was my first fermented food thing, at least just trying it at home. And I probably did sourdough right around that same time. Same thing, influenced by a friend who made his own sourdough. He gave me some of his starter, and I played around with that and just sort of see little things I could make with some of the leftover starter, and then actually started making bread. But yeah, I never really thought about making my own fermented food at home, but it's actually super fun and I love to do it. And now I've preserved lemons and we'll do all kinds of stuff. If you want to make an ingredient in your food better, try fermenting it. Ferment strawberries for 2 weeks and tell me it's not the best fucking strawberry jam you've ever had. It does punch up so many flavors. And actually, we were talking about enzyme activity prior to the break, and Sandor Katz's book, some of his work gets into how flavor compounds are unlocked in certain things. And so obviously fermentation in beer, like we said, produces all kinds of extra flavors and aromas. And it's the same way in food, which is why fermentation can punch up flavor. But the enzyme and bacteria activity will actually break down some of the complex starch chains, like we said. And the sugars, the more simplified sugars that are left over, accentuate the natural flavors of an ingredient by 10 times, which is why fermented strawberry compote would be better than a fresh strawberry compote. Or a preserved lemon has way more lemony flavor than a fresh lemon. And it's because all of those actual flavor compounds are much more accessible, like we talked about.
To your taste buds?
To your taste buds, but obviously more bioavailable to your gut too. So the thing that makes it better for you actually makes it taste better too. And when I kind of learned about that, I was like, okay, I want to try this with fucking everything.
It's just so cool, and that it's so rarely practiced these days. It's all of our food is so pasteurized and so mass produced, and we're so far away from the source of it all, and that fermentation is actually a way to preserve foods. But then pasteurization came along, and now that's everything.
There's no drive-through fermentation.
No.
That's the problem.
I know.
The fast culture.
Yeah,
Maybe
the time and the
someday.
space and the yeah.
Maybe someday there would be a drive-through fermentation.
I also
Drive-through.
did not know this. That's
You get everything fermentation.
I didn't know this either, but there has never been a recorded case of food poisoning from any fermented food sold in the U.S. food market ever. Like a million people have gotten it from a Jack in the Box burger, but not one fermented item ever.
1 million
Yeah.
people. Have,
Right? Isn't
I'm
that
one
crazy?
of them. I don't eat Jack in the Box
$1 million
anymore.
lawsuit.
I don't give a fuck. Jack in the Box can suck a butt.
Yeah, that's crazy to think about.
Frugals killed people recently.
That's a bummer.
With the milkshake.
A little too close to home, Doug.
Sorry, Frugals. Everyone go to Frugals.
I'm taking shots of the national chains. Jesus.
Hey, it's a local podcast.
Touche, salesman. But yeah, it's like it's crazy because it does, you're like, man, if I leave this jar of lemons or strawberries or peppers or cabbage sitting in my house for 2 weeks unrefrigerated, surely it's going to make me sick. But that's never happened. Like, at least not recorded by anybody.
Right.
Which is crazy. It's wild to think about.
And I think like if you are doing it at home, I think the general rule is like if it doesn't smell right, maybe, or it definitely doesn't taste right. If it makes you feel like, ugh, like I shouldn't be eating that, maybe don't.
Maybe not a lamb cutlet.
You can ferment. Yeah, you can ferment meats and stuff.
Honestly, that's where I draw the line.
I
too,
do
though.
that.
Same.
I'd let the professionals handle that.
Yeah.
So it actually gets us into like a funny thing. The reason that Bethany and I started like nerding out about, because we were talking about lambic and how, for a long time, some of the highest rated, most coveted breweries on the planet were lambic breweries. And that's still kind of the case. Even if you look at something like Untappd ratings, like the proportion of like lambic producers and actually mead producers on like the top 100 Untappd rated breweries are like lambic and mead. It's way more than you would expect. And we were like talking about this and like honestly, one of the things that got me into making my own sourdough was a bite of somebody else's sourdough. And my friend did it and kind of helped me out with his starter, but it was actually a restaurant in Washington. And I went there and he gave me a bite of his homemade sourdough that he makes in his like big brick oven, very traditionally. And it was just a piece of bread with butter and salt on it. And it was like the best fucking bite of food I'd ever had. And I still think about it. And it's just bread and butter and salt. And I like was trying to like, piece together an idea that like Bethany and I talked about, but people have been fermenting food for forever, and it's because it was the original way to preserve something. People have been drinking lambic for forever because that was the only way to make beer, was to let wild yeast and bacteria inoculate your beer and then ferment it. And then same with mead. Mead is the same. Mead is older than beer and wine and everything. It's the oldest fermented beverage that got people fucked up.
Or fermenting it because the water was bad, and fermenting it made it drinkable.
Exactly. So like that's we joke about like, oh, fermentation is life or lambic is life, but for a long time, if you were eating fermented like for thousands of years, like way deep down in our DNA, for thousands of years, if you were eating a fermented thing or drinking a fermented thing, it meant that you were just surviving.
Small beer,
dude. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Like if you were drinking lambic, it was because you couldn't drink the water that was in your area. And fermentation will actually purify water. It was the original way to purify water and get rid of really harmful bacteria. And then obviously, like if you were making bread, people didn't isolate yeast until Pasteur, figured out that you could do that. And so everything was wild fermented. Everything was fermentation preserved, and bread was fermentation risen. And so for the longest time, it meant that you were just surviving. And so I think that the reason why mead producers and lambic producers are so highly regarded and like people's experiences drinking those things are so exceptional in their brains is the same reason why that bite of sourdough with butter and salt on it would seem so good. I think there's like something deep down in people's DNA.
Ancestors, yeah.
Yeah, that's like this is me surviving another day. Like there's just some caveman shit in my genes that says my DNA, not my genes, my DNA. Although But there's just this thing like way deep down that just, for some reason makes it more enjoyable because it's like an actual survival instinct or something like that.
Yep. I agree.
But yeah, even like eating kimchi now, you're just like, this is so good. Why is this so good? And I think it just hits something way deeper than just your taste buds.
I agree.
Agreed.
Speaking of which, can you pass the kimchi? And also,
We
can
have
we?
a bunch of
I was going to say,
triples.
We have
can you-
beers to drink.
we should pass that.
If only we had some
Which
blue
one?
cheese.
Do you want
I know.
to?
Phaedra, can you tell us about this
Do you
beer?
want to start with that?
Yes, I do.
So this is here. Let me get my eyeballs on. So this is from Crux Fermentation Project down in Bend. It's part of their Cool Ship project, and it's number 6. And this particular beer is a lambic, and I put on my glasses, and it's not helping because it's so dim in here. I can't.
Give it to
read what it's
Bethany.
saying.
She got them
Bethany can
young
tell me.
man's eyes.
But basically, it's a lambic that they partnered with Rogue
That's not what I
Creamery,
said.
and
Of old man.
It says aged lambic ale for 2 years in oak barrels, smoky and fruity with a light wild funk. This ale pairs perfectly with your favorite Rogue Creamery cheese. I missed the part though where it was brewed with blue cheese
yeah.
and fermented overnight on location in the Cheese Cave at Rogue Creamery in Central Point, Oregon.
That's
Yeah.
insane.
So Crux has they call it the Gypsy Cool Ship that they hook up to the back of a van, a
Hope
Crux
they change the
van.
name of that soon.
Yeah, right.
Jesus. Hey, Crux, it's the Nomad Cool Ship. Jesus.
That's what it's. I just read it.
No, you're fine.
Yeah.
No, hopefully they
I'm
hear
just
this
I'm
and
just a
change it.
messenger. Anyway, so they take it around to different places, and like I said, this is the 6th iteration of this project, and they have different collabs that they've did.
Yeah.
But this one is with Rogue Creamery, and
Who
it's-
currently holds the title of the best blue cheese on the planet.
Yeah, Rogue River Blue
Yeah.
is so that's actually what they brewed. They added it to the mash. I mean, they like added it in
Yeah.
the beer, and then they also like she said,
Fermented in the cave.
yeah, parked the Cool Ship in the
There it
cave
is.
overnight and let it ferment, and then aged it in oak barrels for 2 years.
Cool.
So
I'm
yeah.
fucking made of questions right now.
There, yeah.
And I should say, my good friend Jim Davis, he is a regular down at the Parkway and comes here a lot too. And
Jim's awesome.
I saw him at
Shout out to
E9 the other
Jim.
day, and he's responsible for setting up all the tents and festivals and things around and everything. Anyway, so Jim is down. He's all over the place, but he was down and brought that bottle back
Thanks, Jim.
for me. So,
Seriously.
yeah.
Thank you for sharing,
So
Phaedra.
cheers, Jim.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm going to explain Cool Ship super quick. We didn't talk a ton about fermentation vessels because we just started talking about all this delicious food stuff. But to go back to the beer topic at hand, if you're fermenting, there's different vessels to ferment in. Home brewers might use a 5-gallon bucket or like a carboy. Professional brewers might use a big stainless steel conical fermenter, which has all kinds of like commercial benefits. But one of the ways that you can do it is actually in a Cool Ship, which is what Phaedra is referring to. And a Cool Ship is basically a big long vessel that your beer will basically lay much flatter in than like a big conical fermenter that is tall and round. And it's the idea is to wild ferment it, but you want as much of your beer as exposed to the air as possible. And the way that you do that is with a big Cool Ship. So the beer spreads out much wider, is inoculated much more efficiently by the bacteria and the yeast in the air. And if you're inside the cave at Rogue Blue Cheese factory, I imagine there's tons of crazy bacteria and stuff in the air.
Yeah.
And I'm going to take my first whiff of this right now.
I just want to say, if you attend one of our tapings here, a bottle that we drink from might make it around.
That's true.
Yeah.
Okay, so this smells. It doesn't smell as blue cheesy.
No.
as
It
I
doesn't taste very
thought,
cheesy
And
actually.
and that's one of
Waiting
the
for-
in the description of it is that the blue cheese notes aren't really there.
Which is
I bet the fermentation
yeah.
process,
Yeah.
maybe they
Ate
might
up
have
some
been
of that?
stronger,
Yeah.
before they went into the barrel. But it's not very cheesy.
Matt,
I
is
get
there
a
a
lot of bread.
mouth-feely thing happening here? Am I
possibly. I'm
imagining
still
that?
stuck on the aroma. It's
Okay.
very like grassy and like it reminds me of like dry grass or like cut grass.
Yeah.
Not super unusual. Like green and grassy aromas are pretty common in some lambic.
Cows got to
Definitely green.
make cheese somehow.
honestly, I know it sounds like a joke, but you might not be wrong. The compounds that are left over in this beer could be those compounds, which 100% could be the case.
What do you think, Ron?
Taste.
What do you think?
It's Rogue is responsible for this, right? Or
Crux is responsible for this.
Crux. That's right.
Yeah.
So watch what you say.
Yeah. He's responsible.
That's Ron asking, how fucking mean can I be right now?
So the beer joke's right out.
You could have said taking the credit. But he said responsible for.
Responsible for this?
Ron loves it. Mm-hmm. It's
fine.
It's different.
It's strange.
It's
It's actually better than I thought it was going to be.
Ron wants the 7th iteration.
Yeah, exactly.
I almost want more blue cheese in it. I mean, if they're
I kind
gonna
of do too.
say
If you're gonna say that, so I judged Sip Magazine Cider Awards a few years ago, and some like really classic French still cider has this really strong blue cheese aroma, and it tastes like the glass was rimmed with fucking blue cheese crumbles, and that's really what I expected, and you don't get a ton of it in this, but it could totally be. That like the volatility of the fermentation drove off a lot of the aroma and flavor that you would get, and what you're left with is like the grassiness that would be typical in like a very good blue cheese, but obviously complemented by the funk and sort of the extra flavors.
Do you think the oak also had something to do with it as well?
Not necessarily in terms of like flavor and aroma volatilization, but it would add all of its other stuff. I mean, you get like grassy and woody flavors from oak too, and so like, you know, if you smell this and you're like, oh, that's kind of like sawdusty, like which very similar to sort of like that dried grass aroma. Yeah, it could be from the oak as well. We didn't talk a ton about like volatilization of like compounds in beer.
This is an audio-only podcast.
Yeah, this is Ron's favorite beer of the year.
it's Ron's favorite day.
Ron, do you want some Tripel Carmelite now?
Yes, please.
Another very fermenty beer that was conditioning in the bottle right up until we opened it. Again, to take it back to beer, I suppose, when I say like the aromas and flavors that might contribute to the blue cheese character in a beer like this, volatilized. So in general, the warmer you're fermenting stuff, the more flavor and aroma is going to be driven off by whatever your beer is. So. This is it's really evident in the difference between something like a Czech premium pale lager or a Czech Pilsner, and then something that was fermented with Kvike, which we talked about a little bit. Kvike is a really specific type of Norwegian like farmhouse yeast, and it's really forgiving, and it can be fermented really warm, but it also produces these crazy strong esters, sometimes very limey, sometimes coconutty. Really fruity, sometimes really tropical. It's a very popular yeast and kind of exploded into popularity like 4 years ago. But if you compare like the flavor and aroma of something like a Czech lager versus something that's like an IPA or a farmhouse ale fermented with Kvike, Czech lagers have this like kind of sulfury character because they're fermented really cold, and sulfur volatilizes at warmer temperatures. So if you open like a Czech Pils and you're like, oh, that smells kind of eggy, that's like really common because Czech Pilsners were fermented like 4 to 6 degrees colder because the climate and the caves in that area just kind of called for that before controlled fermentation. So when you compare that with something like that has crazy esters and like super punchy tropical aromas, those flavors and aromas don't volatilize as much as like something like sulfur would. So all you have left are these big fruity flavors. So volatilization at different temperatures is a huge factor in terms of like what's left over in your beer. And I imagine that's probably what happened in the Rogue beer. But now we're on to delicious Belgian yeast.
So here's a description of it. Exhibits notes of caramel, dried fig, and tawny port. Tart, gently sour finish, while the blue flavor of the cheese is not necessarily detectable in the beer. The teams have noted that this wild fermentation did develop Rogue River Blue Cheese's distinctive savory, sweet, and herbaceous character.
Herbaceous for sure.
Yeah.
I would say that's the only one they nailed there because I did not get a lot of port out of it either.
No, yeah, I missed that part too, but the other parts of the description I think are on point.
Am I wrong that what we're on to now has a super bitter finish?
the beer we're on to now.
Yeah.
I mean, compared to the other stuff we've had, I talked about banana and clove earlier, and those are very, very prominent in Belgian yeast.
Ooh, the very end of it. Yeek, yeah.
Really bitter.
See, and this is what
I think so.
is so great about
Wash it down with
tasting
some
beers.
kimchi.
Everybody's palate and experience is so different,
Maybe.
right?
Yeah, no, I mean,
Yeah.
that's, yeah. I mean, it's almost like the tongue and the roof of my mouth are abrasive against each other. It's so bitter.
Could be tannic.
I was just
Could
gonna
actually
say,
be tannin.
It's a little stringent, yeah.
Yeah.
What was in your glass before?
But I'm not. But
Does it taste kind of like a tea, like
an IPA, but
you
not
know,
much.
like a tea kind of when you get the kind of dry mouth? Is that what
I guess so.
Maybe.
Yeah,
It could be kind of. It's a little
So
stringent.
grains.
But I'm also not. But the banana note you're talking about is very strong, and I really don't like banana flavoring.
Oh well,
Who
isoamyl
does?
acetate
Nobody
is
likes
just
that.
banana flavoring.
Real bananas only.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
I can eat a greenish banana and I'm okay.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
banana flavoring,
No.
like banana candy, banana
No.
flavor,
So
and that has like
that is
really super
banana
distinct-
runts.
Yeah.
Banana Laffy Taffy. No, so isoamyl acetate is the compound responsible for banana flavor in things like a Belgian Tripel or a German Weissbier. And
Bubblegummy, too.
Super bubblegummy. Isoamyl acetate is the compound that you put into like the flavor syrup that you put in like Runts candy and Laffy Taffy. It's like almost fake banana flavor, but it's so common and so prominent in these yeast strains.
Yeah, not crazy about that.
That's fair. Some people aren't.
No, it's just and we've talked about this before. There are a whole bunch of different styles of beer. You rarely put something in front of me that is well regarded by my friends that I will go. And I'll enjoy all of it for what it is.
Dude, speaking of fermenting in bananas, I didn't know. So I'll make like bougie desserts for my wife occasionally. And do you guys know who Christina Tosi is? She's like a famous pastry chef. She's part owner of Milk Bar with David Chang, really famous Korean American chef from New York. She's awesome, and she's popularized a lot of like different kinds of dessert through her work at Milk Bar. But she makes like this very famous banana pudding. Or like banana cream pie, and she ferments bananas in the freezer. So like, at freezing temperatures, your yeast isn't really going to do anything, nor bacteria. But if you take bananas that are like mostly ripe and you put them in the freezer for like 3 days, they just turn black. When you take them out, it's like they've fermented in their own skin, and it's where like real banana flavor comes from. And I had never heard somebody say that. And then I tried it. I made a banana sponge cake using these like kind of fermented bananas, and it was unbelievable. It's like that's really where banana flavor, and they turn black and mushy and gross and liquidy and stuff.
Yeah,
but that's real banana flavor. It was so
Yeah,
good.
if you've got bananas that go bad, just keep them in the freezer, and then
Yep.
you can make your banana bread or whatever
Yep.
or later.
You
Man,
can, or they just stay in your freezer for years.
Which is true. Yeah,
You
then
don't
you've
make
done
banana
Also
bread.
Yeah,
who likes licorice and who likes cilantro? Licorice?
Not
Black?
Yeah,
Black licorice?
That's the only kind.
My hand is so far down.
See? So the banana flavor is sort of. I want to be justified in that there's a
Yeah.
flavor I don't like because I want to be
That's
part
the
of
only
the
thing I
gang.
won't eat.
Bethany just wants to talk about Twizzlers,
I
okay?
love cilantro.
I also like
I love salt.
cilantro. Yeah, raise your hand for cilantro.
Green kind?
The red
that's what
wine.
Bethany was like.
Guy.
She's like, fuck that.
How about cilantro? Cilantro?
Yes.
Yes, absolutely.
I like cilantro. I eat it all the time.
Okay, all right. Because cilantro is one of those things that's either
Are you a soapy?
it's either delicious or it's the soap. No, I like both of them.
Raise your hands if you like Carmelite.
But the banana- Like
Also
what?
me.
Carmelite.
The beer where
The beer.
We're just drinking.
I feel like we're on a big tangent.
yeah, probably.
Not really. We're not.
We're talking about beer.
Oh, by the way, we're getting way into the fuck up story. But does anybody have a
Oh
fuck
shit.
up?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
No, please.
Maybe it's
Well, I have a
you-
cheese.
Let me set it up. Bethany, do you have a fuck up story?
Sure.
All right, illustrious grit and grain guests. Now it's time to throw down on some fuck-up stories. I am Sean Jackson. Challenge flag has been set. Bar is high. Bring it on, fuckers.
Yeah, I have a food fermentation fuck-up story. I tried to make cheese. Greer reminded me of. And
Greer's over there.
She's like, you remember that fucking time?
Cheese is fermented. He bought me like the rennet. You have to get there's vegetable rennet, but animal rennet is the best.
Which is a coagulant that will bring milk fats together.
Yep. And I made cheese. It was a pretty big block of it, and it tasted funky. It was definitely funky. I was thinking it was going to be like a mozzarella. Greer was like, I can't figure out if I'm tasting blueberries or poop.
Whoa.
So
That's quite a.
I tried to eat
quite a
as much of
range.
it as I could because I was like, well, I made this and it's really good. It wasn't very good.
Eat shit. Damn, Ron.
Well, blueberries can be like that. What's the poopy diaper flavor in beer? It's
Butyric acid.
No,
is
that's
like
vomit. That's the
well,
vomit.
okay,
Oh,
yeah.
I'm sorry.
But the poopy
We're
diaper
really
one,
going out. We're really going out bad here.
It can. Some people smell blueberries and some people smell a poopy diaper.
That's not butyric acid?
So it's
That's
like
vomit.
it's like the yellow or blue dress there, gold blue dress.
Just like that, Doug.
Okay. Kind of. Fuck.
I'm gonna think of it tonight. Anyway,
I know.
yeah. That's the only time I tried to make cheese and.
Because in the morning I'll have a smoothie and I'll put in the frozen poop and
Yeah.
banana. You know,
It's like the cilantro thing,
just
but
the way I
different.
like it.
Yeah.
I was trying to think of a food fermentation fuck
Enteric.
up. Enteric acid? What? Acid?
Brown acid.
All the
I gotta look it up now. Let's keep
All right, Grit and Grainers. Email us at cheers@gritandgrainpodcast.com with your comments, opinions, and tips on how not to overconsume yogurt, as it's a privilege that could be taken away at any moment's notice by Her Majesty, Marlene's Market in Delhi. We read and drink everything we receive, and we try to respond as fast as we can. I changed the word to fast because I've been having a hard time with quickly. If not online, then on air.
Hard time with the what?
You can subscribe to Grit and Grain on Amazon, Apple Music, Spotify, Google Play, and iHeartRadio. And please leave us a review. Also, check us out on Channel 253
Yes, sir.
and gritandgrainpodcast.com. Be sure to follow us on Facebook and Instagram for episode notes, beer news, and alerts when Tacoma finally launches its own fermentation festival to make your ego spin and your perspective real and your spirit giggle knowingly that chia seeds, necklaces, kombucha with unique flavor profiles produced by the celestial breaths of Namaste herself, hugs from Soul Cycle instructors, special parking for Toyota Prius drivers, vendors such as cage-free quinoa,
Quinoa.
Holy
smoothies, and staffed with the fallen souls of
Jesus.
Zulily Hotline
Quickly.
Staff.
Quick.
Oh my God. If this podcast is not what you expected, please alter your expectations. If you decide to make love to your kombucha bottle, remember to always wear a tote bag. And last but not yeast, no such thing as a bad time to visit Tacoma.
No.
No such thing as too much barley wine. Tune in next Friday for more sweet chatter. Cheers.
cheers.
Damn it. I screwed that up.
Thanks again for tuning in. Don't forget to follow us at Grit and Grain Podcast wherever you get your social media and catch new episodes every Friday. Cheers.
Get up.
Channel 253 is a member-supported podcast network. I'm producer Doug Mackey, and I'm asking you to become a member and show your support. Go to channel253.com/membership to join. Thank you. Grit and Grain is part of the Channel 253 podcast network. Check out our other shows: Nerd Farmer, Interchangeable White Ladies, Move to Tacoma, Crossing Division, Citizen Tacoma, What Say You, We Are Tacoma, Flounders B Team, and Taco Man.
This is Channel 253.